What is going on, guys? It is Daniel Wright, and you are here listening to another episode of Paving the Way. I'm happy to have you back, as always, and we are going to talk a little bit about transparency. We're going to talk about transparency in your business, transparency with your team, and transparency with yourself. I've had some conversations recently, and it's been brought to my attention about how valuable transparency actually is in life as a whole, but more specifically in business, and how you can make sure that you're using it to get a leg up on your competition. So, let's get started. All right, guys, welcome back. Man, that video that Randy made for me for this intro, it never gets old. And I might only be saying that because he's sitting right here in the room with me. And it's funny to make him smile and blush, even though he's not on camera. So shout out to Randy, killing it on the media side of stuff. Anything that you guys see getting produced, whether it's for me personally, for the company, for the brand, whatever it is, he's absolutely killing it. So I definitely want to give a shout out to him for that, keeping up the great work and pushing to take us to the next level, and then helping you guys be able to see more of what we're doing, how we do it, and things like that, which leads right into the topic for today of transparency, right? Like I said, the more people see and the more people know about you, the better you're going to have a chance at building a relationship with them. You're going to have a chance of working with them, providing them value, them providing you value, the whole kit and caboodle, right? And so in that, I want to make sure that we all know that transparency is the only way to grow. Whether you're trying to grow your team, you're trying to grow your company, or you're trying to grow yourself personally, if you're not doing it transparently, you are genuinely setting yourself up for massive failure. If you're not doing it transparently, you're just coming up with excuses. You're not being clear with yourself. You're not making sure that everything that you need to be, expressed and known about is out there. And it's just going to get extremely uncomfortable when you're trying to make those moves. Because what happens is you start lying to yourself, you start lying to your team, you start lying to your clients, and then you have to start covering up those lies. Or you're having to start covering up those little, little gray areas that you weren't completely honest about, but didn't completely lie about. So you got to make sure that full transparency is the best and only way to grow. Now, the three key areas I'd like to talk about with you today that I've found value in being transparent. Again, the only thing I talk about on this show is what I've experienced, what I've found value in, and what I want to share with you. I'm not coming in here to just regurgitate things. I'm not coming in here to preach one thing and do another. I'm coming in here and talking to you about real life experiences where I've found value and where I'm continuing to work to find more value. So the first topic is transparency with your team, right? You guys know a lot of my conversations are geared towards business owners, business leaders, different things like that. And so more than likely you or someone you know probably has a team. Now, when you're transparent with your team, you want to be clear about what your vision is that you're trying to get this team on board to accomplish, right? We've talked about that being really clear about the vision is absolutely crucial in getting buy-in from your team. There's I believe it's biblical, there's without vision, the people will perish, right? So if you have a team and you have no vision of where you're going and you're not transparent about that vision and constantly communicating that vision, then they're not going to buy in to what you want them to do or what you need them to do, right? And if they don't buy into it, then your whole vision, your whole plan, your idea is going to absolutely disintegrate before your eyes. And at the end of the day, it's going to be nobody's fault but your own. And the reason I believe that a lot of people aren't clear and transparent on their vision is because a lot of small business owners, a lot of leaders, a lot of entrepreneurs are actually extremely selfish, right? And I've talked about the fact that being selfish is required at times. There's things that I do and I push for in my life to bring me personal value or bring Kelsey and I personal value in our lives. And that's fine. But sitting and trying to convey to your team that you need them to work really hard and buy into, showing up every day, putting in the extra hours, breaking a sweat, all this stuff so that you can go on a lavish vacation for 3 weeks next summer isn't exactly going to be very good vision to buy into. So that vision you have to cast to them has to be very clear about how they fit into that vision, because they have dreams too. They have a vision for their life. whether it's the young man or young girl who's just starting out of high school, starting in your company, or whether it's the person who's 40, 50 years old, restarting their career and taking a fresh start with you and your company. They have a vision for it. So you got to be clear about how they and their vision fits into you and your vision as a team and where you're going together. And then when all that's laid out and it's very clear about where you're going, you have to be extremely clear on the expectations of everyone to achieve that vision, right? So being transparent and making sure that everyone knows what's expected of them, what's required of them to make it happen, to achieve that vision is absolutely required. Because if you don't, you're going to find yourself having unspoken animosity with each other. You're going to find yourself frustrated at things that you probably could have resolved if you would have been more clear and more transparent with them. And you're going to find yourself not making near the amount of progress that you could be making if you would have been more transparent on the front end of what the expectations actually were. So the next section of growing through transparency is going to be transparency with your clients, right? This is the one thing that came up extremely recently in a conversation I was having. And the story behind it is in a nutshell, right? So in our company at Proline, we perform all sorts of pavement maintenance services. We do a lot of things in-house with our own crews, and then we have partners we work with, paving partners, concrete partners, whatever it may be. We have folks that we work with that we come alongside, and we have them bring their skills and their expertise onto the project that we're working on. Yes, in some places they call it subcontracting. That's what it is in a skinny, but I like to look at it as we are partnering together on these projects. Now, I had somebody ask me recently, they said, hey, do you have a hard time, selling to your clients and explaining to them that you're using a sub or somebody else on the job? Like, is it hard to discuss that and get them to buy into it? And I'm like, well, no, it's not really hard because I'm just honest about it. And the person kind of looked at me and they're like, well, I guess that's a good answer. And I'm like, well, yeah. And we just got to talking, and he said, there's a lot of companies out there that they don't have that level of transparency. They want to try and tell their clients, oh yeah, we're going to do this. Our crews are going to do this. We've got you handled. And then all of a sudden, another company shows up on the job site to go do the work. And then the client's asking you, well, who are these people? I thought I hired, ABC company, and you got XYZ showing up to do the work. And now you're having to, like I said earlier, you're having to kind of cover up what you sold them on the front end. So going into any relationship with a client with full transparency is absolutely required to get everything off on the right foot and to continue solidifying that relationship as it grows. So you got to be really clear about what your company does, right? So for example, I'm very clear with our clients that our company in-house, we provide pavement maintenance services. We do repairs, we do, striping, seal coating, crack sealing, signage, all the kit and caboodle, all the stuff that goes into parking lot maintenance and repairs. But if you need your parking lot tore out and repaved, we can get that done for you and we can manage that project for you, but we're going to be using partners for that. And I tell every client that every time we do an assessment, we do a site meeting. So that way they make sure, that way I make sure they know how we're going to go about approaching this project. And 99.9% of the time, clients have no problem with that because you're being honest, transparent up front. And at the end of the day, they want somebody they can trust to get the project completed. So if you're starting with full transparency, you are going to be more likely to gain their trust right off the bat. The next thing is you want to be clear about how you do it. So like I said, you want to make sure everybody knows that you're working with of how your company operates. What things can you expect to see a Proline truck on, and what things can you expect to see a partner's truck on? How does the communication work? How does the process work? Be really clear about how it looks to work with you and your company, because the more that you can tell them that up front, the more comfort you're giving them. The more you're backing up what you're saying on the front end. Oh, it's going to be great to work with us, but I'm not going to tell you how we do everything. That makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. So the more that you're telling them upfront about how you do what you do, then you're going to just continue to gain that trust, and that relationship is going to be solidified. And then you want to be really clear about why you do it, right? A lot of clients nowadays, they want to know, why are you doing this? Yeah, you're here to make money. You're a business. I get it. Yeah, you guys are good at doing parking lots, or good at doing drywall or welding or whatever your business does. But tell the story. Let them know, hey, I got into this business 8 years ago. I was a fireman full time. I had another part-time fireman job. I had a lawn care company. I had a wife in nursing school, and I had a big mouth that opened it to my father-in-law that said my wife's never going to have to want for anything if you let me marry her. right? Tell the story. Get transparent about why you're doing what you're doing. Tell them about your team that you have. You got young kids straight out of high school that wanted to join you and your company because they didn't feel college was the right route for them. So you want to make sure that you're building a dream that they can accomplish, that you're laying the foundation for them to live out their vision, and that they can start their life and have something to be proud of and make their parents proud, or their girlfriend or boyfriend, or, whoever it is, proud. Tell them about your team. Tell them about what you're doing and why you're doing it. Because believe it or not, a lot of people like to have relationships in business and not just be purely transactional. Yes, you're going to have the people who, hey, it's money in, money out, contract in, contract out, and that's fine. At Proline, one of our core values is build relationships. I like to know why it is that people are doing what they're doing. When I get new clients to work with, I say, hey, how long have you been in this industry? What do you like about it? What do you not like about it? What are some of your struggles? What are the things that you love doing in this industry? What brought you from the old one to the new ones? Whatever it is, right? Get transparent about it, because that's going to only help build relationships with you and your clients. Okay. So then the last and the most important aspect that you want to be transparent about is you want to have transparency with yourself. Because let's face it, we can be our own worst critic. We can be our own biggest enemy, and we can be the ones that we lie to day in and day out, but no one else ever knows. So you want to make sure that you're extremely clear and transparent with what you're setting out to do and why. Whether you're building a business, whether you're building a team, whether you're trying to achieve a promotion, or whatever it may be, are you really clear and transparent with yourself on what you're trying to do and why you're trying to do it? Because if those two things aren't really clear, I can promise you, you are going to get absolutely nowhere towards the goals that you say you want to achieve. So make sure, however that works in your world, in your life, that you're very clear with that. Whether you have to write it out, whether you have to have it, as a lock screen on your phone. I know some people do that. Whether it is that, heck, on my bathroom mirror in my house, I have our mission and vision statement written out on with a dry erase marker. I have our company's core values right there by where I brush my teeth every morning, because I want to make sure that every morning I start my day that I'm very clear on what I'm getting up and setting out to go do and why I'm going to do it. Our company exists to make a positive impact in and around the pavement maintenance industry and everybody we have the opportunity to impact. That's what we're setting out to do. We have 6 very, very concrete core values that we operate by day in and day out, and there's no exceptions. And so you have to be very clear on what it is you're setting out to do and why. Some people think that I wake up to go paint parking lots or to go sell asphalt or go do this and that. No. We're here for something bigger than that. And I can promise you, if you're not out for something bigger than just checking the box every day, you have no vision. You have no goal. You have no objective that you're actually trying to work towards. So you'll either fall victim to shiny object syndrome and never actually get anywhere, or you're going to fall victim to constantly spinning your wheels and never getting anywhere. You got to have a hard set goal of what you're setting out to do and why. And you want to make sure that you know exactly what it's going to take to achieve that goal, right? Now, I'm not saying that, you have to go and you have to literally iron out every single minute of every day, of every week, of every month, of every year to achieve that goal. You're more than welcome to if you want. I don't do that. But I also know that I have a set amount of tasks that I'm supposed to get done every day. Are there days that I don't get all those tasks done? Absolutely. And then what happens? Those tasks get moved to the next day. And then I get everything done. And then eventually I'm going to have a long day to get caught up, right? So I know going into every day what my tasks are to be completed, whether it's my meetings, whether it's my proposals I need to send out, clients I need to call, reviews I need to do, look over financials, approve this, approve that, whatever it is. I have to-dos every day, what it's going to take. I also know inside myself that if I want to get something bigger and better than what everybody else in the world has, I'm going to have to do things bigger and better than what everyone else does. So that means I'm going to have to put in more work than they put in. I'm going to have to put in more intentional time than they put in. I'm going to have to be more meticulous, more specific, more, analyze things a little bit better than the next guy. I'm going to have to do more than what the other guy does if I want to get more than what he's got. And I'm telling you right now, I've got some pretty big dreams, pretty big goals that include a lot of people that we want to impact. And so I know that it's going to take more than I probably sometimes feel like I'm capable of. But I can bet your ass that I'm going to get up and give it everything I've got every day, even when I don't feel like it. And truth be told, guys, The days you don't feel like it is the days that you need to put in more work than when you're waking up feeling great. Because those are going to be the days that you prove to yourself and everyone around you that you actually have what it takes to make that shit happen. And then you need to hold yourself accountable on if you're doing what it takes, right? You have to be honest with yourself. Because like I said, there's days that you're going to go home and you're not going to get all your stuff done. You're not going to give it 100% that day for whatever reason. Life happens. That's the reality of it. But you have to hold yourself accountable. Because I can promise you, there's days and there's weeks even, whether it's when I go to the gym, whether it's when I'm at work, that I'm like, man, I just haven't been feeling it this week. Or I look down at my watch after I'm done working out. I'm like, man, I didn't burn the calories that I normally burn. Well, it's probably because I was half-assing it. It's probably because I was sidetracked on my phone in between sets. And so I wasn't burning the calories. I wasn't keeping the heart rate up. And I have to hold myself accountable to those things. I take my health seriously. I take my work seriously. I take my relationship seriously. There's times where I'm sitting at home with Kelsey and I'm sitting there and I know I've been on my phone or my iPad or my computer or whatever. It's not paying attention. I'm like, man, okay, I should probably just go ahead and close this up and just be present. So you got to hold yourself accountable to the things that you say you're going to accomplish. Because when you don't actually do what it takes to accomplish those things, you have to take the steps to correct it. And if you don't, then you're going to keep sucking yourself right down a path of, just honestly failure and dissatisfaction. So like I was saying, guys, the only way to grow is through transparency. And in my opinion, who I believe the audience is that's listening to this message right now, is you're doing it either with a team, you're doing it with your clients, and you're doing it with yourself. So be transparent with your team. Let them know where you're going, what it's going to take to get there, and how their dreams fit into it. Be transparent with your clients. Let them know what your company does, how you do it, and why you do it. And then be transparent with yourself on what you're setting out to do and why you're setting out to do it. And make sure you know exactly what it's going to take to get there and hold yourself accountable. Guys, I hope this message was helpful to you or someone you might know. So all I ask is you give it a little share or a like or a comment, or you can even send me some hate mail. That'd be fun too. So hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Appreciate y'all. We'll see